Welcome back to Snack Size Wellness. Today, I'm going to teach you how to stop overthinking your toddler's meals. My name is Alex. I am a full-time student, certified nutritionist, and toddler mom. We're going to ignore the fact that I look like I'm sitting in a doctor's office. I am not. I am in the library. I'm still working out, a good place to film, but we're going to keep going. All right. Why are we struggling with meals? Why do I think so many moms, parents are struggling with their kids' meals? A lot of us don't know how to feed ourselves, and now we're expected to feed somebody else. It adds a whole new layer into the mix. We also make hundreds of little decisions every single day. If you can automate regular tasks, you'll be able to leave more space to actually think about the things that you want to do. Most importantly, remember that our job is to offer food to our children, not to make them eat it. Okay? You can't force them. We are just giving them the best opportunity to get calories in their body that we can. So last week I talked about our meal planning, about my meal planning system, and mentioned in there that my toddler eats dinner with us. And I do factor him in when I'm thinking about our meals, but for breakfast, lunch, and any snacks, he generally gets his own meal because I like to meal prep things for myself that are higher protein or higher fiber or things that I like that he might not necessarily like. This formula also works for those meals, like backup meals, when you aren't hungry or you're sick and you still need to feed someone. You can rely on this pretty heavily. All right, let's break down the formula. It is super simple. You're gonna wonder why you didn't think of it yourself, okay? So if you remember, building a balanced meal is protein, carb, and fiber. And the fiber is usually in the form of a vegetable or fruit. From last week, we're going to again pick our anchor, the thing that our kid likes the most. For mine, it's protein. It's the easiest thing for me to know he's going to eat. And for your kid, it might be fruit, or it might be carb, or they really love pasta, or, he is obsessed with fishy crackers and pizza at the moment. But you pick what is right for your toddler. Okay, so let me give you some breakdowns of how breakfast works. Breakfast, I start with a protein, that's my anchor, but you can start with any one of these. You don't have to do meat. You could do dairy as your protein instead, or a plant-based protein is fine. Eggs, also high in protein. My son does not like eggs, so that's off the table. But you do your protein, then I do fruit for breakfast. He's not obsessed with fruit, but you can throw that in any meal or snack you want. But I always do it for breakfast because it lends itself really easy to breakfast foods. And then I do a carb. And I'm going to give you some examples. As always, more ideas and examples are on the Substack, Snack Size Wellness, and the Instagram, Snack Size Wellness. So for breakfast, a typical day would look like a sausage patty, strawberries, and a muffin or a granola bar, a fig bar, and then maybe yogurt. The other day, he woke up super early and I had breakfast done before 6 a.m. Like, this is incredibly simple and easy. All you have to think of is, what's my protein, what's my fruit, what's my carb. So now lunch. Again, we're sticking with these three main things to keep it incredibly simple. We don't need to deep dive into the macronutrients and micronutrients of every food. Okay? So lunch, my kid, our anchor is meat. So I start with protein, and we have lots of options. I like to do frozen meat I can cook in small portions. Okay. And highly recommend, if you have a picky toddler, trying these out, because I feel like most people would like this stuff. So I get frozen meatballs, sausage, dino nuggets, chicken sticks, and pretty much every meat item that I'm telling you guys, I use the air fryer for. Um, it makes it super simple and really easy, and I just pop it in there. I know it's not going to burn or get overcooked or whatever, and I will cook as many as I know he will eat, or the max a number I know he'll eat. So he eats maybe 3 dino nuggets, and then he'll eat like 3 meatballs, depending on what size of meatballs. So then we'll do a carb, because he's a little bit more particular. A lot of times this is crackers or pasta or just like snacks. I know that sounds kind of bad, but it makes it incredibly easy to like feed him, especially since I like to get out of the house and I like to go do stuff. So if you can think of what could I put in a bag to go on a picnic, that's your lunches, especially now that it's summer. This is like the ultimate thought process going in my head. Like, what could I make ahead of time? Or what could I like freeze and then it'll thaw by the time we eat it? Like that kind of thing. A lot of times I will prep mac and cheese with peas and carrots and give him that as a side. I'll find meats that have hidden veggies and sauces and dips. Loves sauces and dips. He calls them soup. So like dino nuggies and barbecue sauce. And you can make your own if you are into that and add extra vegetables if you want. But lunch, especially with these warmer days, is incredibly simple. Also, a sandwich or like an uncrustable is a complete meal. You can't tell me otherwise. It has everything on our list. You might be able to tell that like this is a really loose formula because toddlers don't always eat what you give them or want what you give them. If they have the communication skills to ask for what they want, totally. If we have leftover pizza because he's obsessed with pizza, that's what he's getting. Okay, so I am not like steadfast, you have to eat your vegetable, right? I'm offering it, it's served to you. I'm gonna make it palatable, I'm gonna make it taste good, but I have zero expectations. And I think that's where a lot of parents get tripped up, is like, you liked it yesterday, why don't you like it today? How do we make this easier on ourselves? Relying on the freezer, relying on like pantry staples. So batch cooking also is fantastic, and keeping like a rotation of things. I'm telling you guys ideas that I know you can get more variety out of. Like I said, frozen meatballs, but I didn't specify what kind. And that's because we have like 4 different types of frozen meatballs in our freezer right now. He also loves sausage, and I have my favorite sausage that I would eat every single time, but we also rotate sausage. I recently tried giving him a corn dog. He wasn't a fan. I tried a couple more times over the last month, and I successfully got him to eat like 1 bite of a corn dog. That's totally fine. I wanted to see if he would even try a hot dog, and I thought a corn dog was a great way to start. I also batch cook things that are incredibly like easy to heat up. Pasta and is one of those things. I like to do. I don't care if you do box mac and cheese. I do box mac and cheese, or you can make it, or it doesn't matter to me. I like getting small noodles, whether it's boxed or not, because it's a little bit easier for him to eat smaller noodles or the shaped noodles. The system is to help you build a plate quickly and easily without having to think too hard about it, and also to help you like set yourself up for success, like tomorrow and the next day and the next day. I don't know what he's having for lunch. I don't know what he's having tomorrow for lunch, but I do know that I'm going to make it in under 15 minutes because that is how I have set myself up to be able to go, it's lunchtime. I'm going to make him some lunch. What do we have? What do we not have? And throw some stuff together. Another, like, incredibly important point to remember is that no matter what vegetable I give my child, he's not going to eat it. I will give him a vegetable every single meal. I will try. I recently got him to eat seaweed. Now he thinks it's delicious and he loves it. But I don't expect him to eat it. I don't plan for him to eat it. I like to buy things with extra vegetables in them, so I know he's getting those micronutrients. But if you don't, then that's fine. That's not that big of a deal. As long as they're eating, as long as they're getting calories in, that's great. With this system, you're going to repeat meals, and that doesn't matter because there will be enough variety that you're going to build up for yourself that it's not going to bother your toddler, right? So here's your homework for this week. You're going to sit down and you are going to write your 3 categories into columns: protein, carb, fiber. Okay. And then you're going to list the proteins you know that your kid's going to like. And you're going to list the carbs you know your kid's going to like. Do they like quesadillas and tortillas? Then that's going on the list. You're going to write the fiber. Now remember, I'm saying fiber is like a catch-all term, but this is basically vegetables and fruit. Okay? It might be an entire list of fruit. I don't care. It might be like he's eaten peas like a handful of times, but I'm going to keep giving him peas. And every time we have broccoli, I'm going to give him a piece of broccoli, even though I know he's not really going to eat it. I'm still going to give it to him. I also got him to eat edamame once. So whichever one that you can think of the most items that your kid will eat, that's your anchor. If you're unclear, maybe they won't eat the most meat, but they will always eat the meat on their plate. That's your anchor. I guess my anchor is goldfish. Make it fun, make it easy. You can look ideas on Pinterest for forever, but until you start actually trying things, trying new things, and writing it actually down is going to change the way you think of meals for your kid. And if you make this list nice, or you make a second one that looks nice or something like that, you can put it on your fridge and have that for later, of like, maybe I'm sorry, I'm a little type A, but maybe you highlight it and circle the things that you have in stock, or maybe you just have it on your fridge. You can like check on and off of the things that you know you have, or the things you know you need. You can use it as like a little inventory / grocery list, you know? So, and don't just think you have to like put meat and like pasta and raspberries in each column. It's like quesadillas can be in there, and like don't be afraid to be slightly more specific. It is based on your kids' needs. Cheese, you could put in either the protein or the carb column, depending on which one is lacking, and that goes for any dairy. You can put yogurt in either column. You could put peanut butter in either column. And that's not to say that they have high protein content. That's just to say that if your kid doesn't like to eat meat, then they can get it from other sources, and that's not that big of a deal. Don't make it one. Okay, so our recap is you're going to figure out your kid's by making a list of protein, carb, and fiber that they like, and that is going to help you build their meals. You're going to use that list to stock up on each different category, a couple of things every single week for breakfast and lunch and backup meals. And then you'll have it to go to every single week, every single day. Remember that building a balanced meal consists of a protein, it's typically meat but doesn't have to be, a carb, and fiber, which is just a fun way of saying fruits and vegetables. And your last thing is don't put so much pressure on yourself or your kid to eat the food. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter how homemade or how fancy it is or how expensive it is. They're still going to lick the floor, you know? All right. Next week, we are talking about why waking up before your kids can change your day. Okay? This is something that I live and die by. This is not always easy, and there is a definite time and place when you should and should not wake up before your kids. So we will get into that next week. Follow wherever you get your podcasts or subscribe on YouTube and send this to a friend who complains that feeding her kids is super hard. Hopefully it'll help her. And as always, more additional information and help will be on the Substack, Snack Sized Wellness. I'll talk to you next week.